Hey guys, it's Sammy. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. As June is finally coming to an end, who knows what July will bring, but I was tagged by Skylar and Tati, two of my very close friends here on BookTube. I'll link both their channels down below. They are amazing. I encourage you all to check them out. This was co-created by Chammy and Ellie, I believe. I will also link down, I think Chammy's video has since been privated, but I will link down the original video down below. I'll also have the questions linked down below for you guys if you want to do this. Without further ado, let's talk about all the books that I've read in the first half of this year. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2020, and for that I'm going to go with The Bride Test by Helen Huang. I talked about this a little bit in my wrap-up, my spring wrap-up, which I'll link up above. I think my camera may have finally flipped it, so now it's like technically over here. I screwed that up in the last video, so we'll see if I got it right this time. You did not. But I absolutely adored this book. It is technically a sequel, but it's a romance sequel, so it's not really a sequel, although I will say it kind of spoils some things of the kiss quotient in this, but nothing really serious. I mean, usually in romances you kind of get the idea of how it's going to end, I feel like, at least, but this was just so beautifully done. I just adored every bit of it. It follows a woman who is working in a hotel in Vietnam, and this older lady approaches her and is like, I want you to come to the United States and meet my son, and they have a sort of arranged marriage sort of situation, and the love interest in this has autism, and he's just the sweetest person, and it's so good. It is like so wholesome and hot and everything I could have possibly asked for. The angst is next level, and I loved it just because, wow, it really surprised me, especially since I didn't love the kiss quotient. If you didn't love the kiss quotient, I still highly recommend you give this a chance. Next up, the best sequel that I've read so far in 2020. So I've read quite a few sequels, but I definitely have to say the best sequel I've read so far this year is In an Absent Dream by Shauna McGuire. This is the fourth book in the Wayward Children series by Shauna McGuire. The first book is Every Heart a Doorway, and this basically follows a school for wayward children, which basically are these children that live in our world, but they have these doors that open up to other worlds that are better suited for them, and they live out their life in that world, and then sometimes they get kicked back out for various reasons. Whole lot of interesting stuff to learn there. And they go to the school to kind of try to, number one, get over getting kicked out of these worlds that meant so much to them, dealing with each other, having relationships with each other, but it also is kind of a school where they can hopefully try to find their door if it will open back up for them. So it is a beautifully magical series. But this fourth book, In an Absent Dream, is by far my favorite in the series. I just absolutely adored the story it told. It followed one of the characters from the first book, and it really delved into like her story, her door, her world, and everything that led up to her, and I just love the messages it gave. It talked a lot about family and sisters, and it just hit me so hard, and I highly recommend you read the series. I would recommend you read them in order because you can spoil yourself, but technically they are all standalones. Read the Every Heart a Doorway series, please. You will not regret it. Okay, number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. And for this, I have to go with Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. I am so excited to read this book. It just sounds like something that I'm going to absolutely adore. I've heard really good things. YA contemporary romances can be super hit or miss in this community, and I feel like if a lot of people are giving it really positive reviews, then it's probably going to be something I absolutely adore. And basically this follows two teens that work for two kind of rival sandwich shops. So the girl in this story works for like a really big chain that's trying to take over like this mom and pop shop that the guy in the story is like his grandma's shop, and they have this like Twitter war, and then I think there's also some sort of like they're actually already like communicating and they really like each other, you know, the whole situation. I'm just so excited for it. And also I made sure I got this edition that has the cute grilled cheese on the hardcover. I think this is going to be a new favorite. I have high hopes. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I have a few. I'd say I don't think I can pick one just because I feel like this is the first time in a while I've actually been anticipating a lot of books, and I actually have like a list of pre-orders that I still have to make, which is something I very rarely if ever do. First up, just gonna drop it here, Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I wouldn't say I'm super excited for it, but I'm going to read it, so it's like I am excited for it, but I'm nervous about it as well. That comes out in August, I think. I'm also obviously excited for How the King of Elfane Learned to Hate Stories. I don't remember if that is exactly what it's called. Oh yeah, How the King of Elfane Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black, which is a novella in the Folk of Air series, and I am so incredibly excited for that. I assumed it was kind of going to be like all previous stories, but just Holly Black mentioned that there was going to be a story about Jude and Cardan in the human world, and I'm going to lose my mind over it. So don't mind me just losing my mind. And I'm also super excited, which I think it's November 2. Chasing Lucky by Jen Bennett, one of my favorite contemporary authors of all time, is coming out with her 4th, 5th, I don't know, she has a lot of YA contemporary romances in November, and I'm super excited for that as well. And I'm sure there's others that I forgot, but these are the top ones and I had to include all of them. Biggest disappointment. So I'd say disappointment probably means a book I was anticipating more of. I'd say my biggest disappointment has to be The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guliari. This is, I think, one of the first romance books that I ever saw that I really wanted to pick up. I think this is definitely a little older now at this point, and I read it in the beginning of the year for my comfort zone, which was just a series that I plan on continuing. But in this episode, I guess, I read 3 adult romances, and I really disliked this. And it wasn't even so much the plot. Well, I did have a lot of problems with the plot. I also just didn't enjoy the writing, which sucks, because Jasmine Guliari has a lot of adult romances that people have raved about for a really long time, but just wasn't the vibe. So biggest disappointment for sure, but I honestly haven't read that many disappointing books this year, so I'm grateful for that, but I also don't have a lot of new favorites, so we're gonna have to work on that. Now, biggest surprise absolutely has to go to Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon Gryer. It just had to show up choice here because this is a series I absolutely didn't think I would really enjoy, just because I don't know, like, I'm usually someone that's very driven by romance, and I want angst, and I want something like hold on to. Like, I'm very big on like my romances, and this like has a bit of just kind of like good feelings overall, but it doesn't have a romance. It's not the center, it's not the point. This whole series is just so heartwarming, and it just brings me so many feelings. So this was definitely the biggest surprise. I wasn't expecting to like this series that much at all, but I'm glad that I did. Can't talk. So next question is favorite new author, and oh god, I don't think I've read that many new authors this year. So luckily I found a good one, and this is an author I definitely want to pick up more from in the future. I really loved her writing, and that is Ibi Zoboi, who wrote American Street, which I read this year. I gave 5 stars. New favorite of all time. This book, heartbreaking, eye-opening, hard to read, but an absolutely beautiful story of a Haitian girl immigrating to the United States to live in Chicago with some of her cousins, and her mom being detained, not being let in through to the United States, and our main character Fabiola having to kind of navigate her new life in America by herself, well, with her cousins. But it hurt me. This whole story was hard to read, but also so incredibly important and so incredibly good. So I highly recommend this, and this is definitely an author that I want to pick up more from in the future. Next up, newest fictional crush. Okay, I'm starting to feel like I get to the age where it's like, yeah, I'll like talk about like fictional crushes. Well, I'm not like so old. I'm like 20, okay? So I'm not like old, but I feel like I'm gonna get to the age soon where I'm gonna be talking about reading YA books and talk about fictional crushes and be like, I don't know about that. But a character that I really enjoyed and I'm excited to see more from, and I guess I could consider him a new fictional crush, I'd say, is Gray from A Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken. He was more of the center in this book. I think it followed him. I don't know why I said he's more at the center. It literally followed his story. But he was also a big part in A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I don't know. He's good stuff. He was good to read. I liked him a lot in the first book. I liked him more than the actual love interest. So when he got his own story, I was really excited about it. Take that as you will. Newest favorite character. Okay. God, these questions are hard and are making me realize that I don't remember a lot about a lot of these books, so that's tragic. Oh wait, I have a good one. And actually, I think I just screwed up. So I kind of want to take that back, because my newest fictional crush is absolutely the Darkling which I kind of forgot I read this book, not gonna lie to you, because I've only read the first book. Newest fictional crush, absolutely the Darkling. Stupid questions, stupid answers. Absolutely the Darkling. Now, okay, so now I said that, I already talked about it, Fierce and Dark and broke, whatever. So now I still need a new favorite character. Probably would technically still be the Darkling because he hit. He really did. But who else did I really like this year? So I'd say I really love Sumi from the Every Heart a Doorway series. I guess I could just say Beneath the Sugar Sky, although technically she wasn't a huge part in the book. Kind of a long story, but she is so funny and one of the few characters that I've read from that will actually make me laugh out loud, and I don't read like a lot of characters that will genuinely make me laugh. I love her. She's iconic. Okay, a book that made you cry. I very rarely, if ever, cry. So if I say I do, I could be lying to you, but also maybe I cried, but there's been very few books I've ever cried in. So the only one I can really think of that I might have cried, I'd have to rewatch the vlog, and I don't think I did. I think if I cared more, I would have cried. But that's The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and I'm not gonna get into it because it's spoilers, but I didn't like this book. And I do think I was emotional at one point just because of how much this book was to handle. So yeah, I don't know, not good vibes, might have cried, more angry probably than like crying, but pretty close emotion wise, so we'll let it stay. Okay, a book that made you happy. Absolutely can 100% answer this question, and that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. If you don't know, I am rereading and reading Cassandra Clare's entire Shadowhunter Chronicles books with a bunch of lovely people, and I reread this year. I read it for the first time in 2015 or 2016, and this just brought me back a lot of nostalgia, and I absolutely adored seeing a lot of these characters again and picking up on a lot of Cassandra Clare's like cues to future books, because I have read the first 4 books in this series and then the entire for Infernal Devices, and it's just like such a treat rereading these. Like, I know that they're not objectively very good, but it made me happy to read this and like genuinely like feel things, so I had to put that as a book that made me happy, even though technically this isn't like a new book that made me happy. It was like the reread experience was just amazing. Okay, next up, the most beautiful book you bought this year or received. Oh, yikes. I have a very small list of books I've actually gotten this year. Oh, never mind, I totally know. Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hingwen. I adore this cover. I think it's so pretty. Like, you can't tell me you don't look at this, but it's like reflective, and like this art style is gorgeous, and the font, like, they did it here. They really did it. So I also really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. I don't know, you can watch my live show that I did for it. Good times were had. What books do you still need to read by the end of the year? I don't know, all of them. What even kind of question is that? I did a whole video on the books that I want to read in 2020. I'll link that up above for you guys. And I also did a 5-star predictions, which I guess I'll also link up. I'm probably getting a little close to my amount of links that I can put up above, but those are books that I definitely need to read. But I guess just to pick one, just to kind of highlight it, that I plan on reading really soon, that's The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I'm super excited to read this. I think I'm about to start it after I finish this video, really. And hate to love, these 2 best man and maid of honor like hate each other, but then they have to go on this honeymoon together for probably a really stupid reason, because the bride and groom get sick or something. I have no idea, but I'm so excited. I've heard such good things. I'm so excited for this. And yeah, there's others. I have a whole TBR cart coming up video with all these books that I plan on reading this year. Looking at it, I'm like, that's kind of a lot of books. But I'm really excited for what this year has to offer. Like I said, it's been a time, it will continue being a time, and I also start my job soon, so that should be also interesting. I don't know how my reading is going to change when that starts. So that's all the books that I want to talk about today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a mess. I don't have anyone to tag also. I never am good at like tagging people, but yeah, Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. I will talk to you guys very, very soon with a new video. And yeah, bye guys.